Hey people, this is part 2. It'll really help to understand this if you watch part 1. It's 30 minutes, the last movie I loaded. I put them in the same folder. It looked like this. But this is old A. Pep. You know, this is the serpent that Ra would fight every night as he traveled through the underworld. And so this old A. Pep, you know, this is where we get our word reaper and reappear. You know, and Set would ride on the front of the boat here when the sun set, and the reaper, he would fight the reaper until the next morning when he would reappear. So a lot of Egyptologists call this the sun disk, as in the Egyptians believed that the sun was a flat disk. And so the sun and the moon are known as the Eye of Ra and Eye of Horus. But Rolf Cross argues that, you know, that's just more recent, that those writings, there was no writings that said that in ancient times. And so it's just the Egyptologists that call this the sun disk, because, you know, it was mostly carved in a convex shape. You know, in Egyptian relief sculpture suggests that the Egyptians may envision it as a spear. So the serpent's long been seen as the symbol of rebirth and wisdom. So I finished up that last movie on this line, you know, knowing good and evil, and to the Zulon, and we've seen that the Zulon isn't often tree, but it usually means a totem pole, a property marker, or just a carved pole. And two, they deny the Noston, the knowledge on it, the call of, you know, the call, the names of, upon or of. And so this word they deny, you know, EY, they, and then D, you know, is to remove, and Naya, you know, is no everywhere in the world, except the Greeks say it means yes, all the way through the Bible. Nay, nay, yes, yes, and we, no, no. But every language that evolved from this says nay means no. Every language that surrounded Greek, nay means no. And so it's easy to tell that they changed the word after the Bible was written. You know, because the French still use this oui for yes, yes. And so to the Zulon, you know, to the totem pole with the message on it, they remove not, do not remove the Noston, the knowledge on it, and the call, the names of, upon or of. And so I'm pretty sure, you know, deny and deny, that's where they both come from. You know, do not remove. They remove not. You deny. No, you can't take that. So this line here, it reads the same in the Byzantine Bible. The next one's different, but the Potamus del Portage. And so the Potamus, you know, the river, and DE, and the EK replaces the L. You see it if you match the old Greek up to the Hebrew. Everywhere there's a word starting with EK, you see the same word, except it'll start with the L in the Hebrew. And so that's Del, you know, the Rio del, river of the, you know, Rio del Mar, river to the sea. Rio to the Mar, Rio to the sea. And so, you know, the river to the portage. And so this ETAI, this is a Greek suffix that means in the future to come. ET, you know, to, and AJ, age, to age. And it's what's coming in the future. And I searched this word all different ways. It's hard to find, but you can find it like this. And they say it means, you know, having to do with moving, or a way, or a bridge. You know, the pierrot is what we use to cut through the swamp, to pierce, to pass through, to carry, to cause to go, to move, to bring. And it seemed like bring fits best. You know, the river to the to the bring in the future. The river will bring in the future X, this is the Greek X, E-X-E-D-N, exceeding. The pot is in tone, In the future, the river will be exceeding the pot it is in tone. Tone, its color, its frequency, its shape, its size. It's going to be bigger than the pot is in. The shape of the pot is in. It's going to overrun its banks. The parade is on. Everybody's running down to get their harvest in. The parade is on lighten. L-E-K-L. And they do this just to confuse. This wasn't for everybody. The parade is on lay then of arise it tie, to age in the future. The lay then, the rise in the future, this. And they'll just give every word the meaning this or into or the, and they'll switch them all up to finish, to fit in, the one, all the small words in there, just some of the big words that they've got partially right, but all the little words in between, they change them up to fit the story. But this tesser as, the harvest as, peak, test, the Greek word, meaning the harvest or to reap. The river to rise coming, exceeding the size of its pot. The parade is on. The preparer, the protection day on, the protection days on. The parade is on, the parody's on. The lay then of a rise it tie, the rise to come in the future. This, the harvest as arches is the peak, and that word doesn't change. We'll see it, the same word used today. Arches means the peak, the beginning, the origin, the rule on top of the pyramid, the point, what comes first. And so they'll give it meanings like beginning, corners, domain, elementary, first preaching, principalities, rulers. But it's pretty easy to see, they were talking about the sharecropper down in the Nile Valley, and the water's fixing to rise. It's the only difference in this and this Byzantine Bible. The Byzantine is from the older copies. It's not exceeding, but it's exceed them, to come before them, to exceed them before they get to their harvest. The river's coming soon. So this next line starts with anoma, the name. And they're trying to say, it's where this Greek nomos, the district, the divisions. But this MA suffix, it means, that which is ono. That which is ono. And so we got a fish here we call a ono. Some people call it a wahoo. And, its range is all the tropical waters around the world. And the ancient people, where their language wasn't destroyed, they say the ono means good to eat. And so this would read as from that which is good to eat, onoma. From that which is good to eat to, and then the en is just like the ek is the l, the en is the b. And so that which is good to eat, to buy fish on. The fish that's good to eat, Houtous, sea, circle on. Houtous is the old Greek word for widget. You can see it, utu. And so this is widget, the one that's circled around the sun disk. It's the serpent. But if we search that word, they'll just tell us it's an alternative form of Houtous. And they tell us Houtous is just another one of those words that means this or those or thus, so, in this manner. It's just another one of them words that they've got them all 1,000 words meaning the same thing, meaning nothing. You know, it's talking about the river rising over here. The river rising. And, boy, I spent a lot of time fishing on the river when it's rising, because that's when the catfish come in. And what happens is the same thing is talked about in the story. You know, that which is good to eat, to buy fish on. You know, the fish that is good to eat, Houtous, the serpent, see, circle on, pass on. Then gone evil at. He then gone evil at. E-V-I-L-A-T. And so, you know, Eve is the spot, you know, is the spot between your roof and your walls that overhang on your house. Those are called eaves. And it's the connecting point. The fish that is good to eat, Houtous see. The serpent see. He circle on, pass on. He circles around, passes on, and then he gone evil at lay, K-E-K-L-E-Y. Evil at lay of this tie. And evil at lay, this is to crucian. Crucian, that's where your word crossing come from. The serpent, he done circled around. He seen the fish, he done circled around, and he went to lay evil at the spot where the fish is going to cross. And so, you know, kook, you know, that's also the name for Mercury. But Kukin, K-U-K-B, Kukin is the word for Mercury. So Mercury encircles the sun disk, and every great once in a while we'll see it cross over the sun disk. And this is old sailor's secret, and it can be used just like an eclipse to tell the time, because we're so far away from the sun and Mercury is so close to it. Wherever you're at on the planet, we're going to see this crossing, these 5 hours at the same time. And so if you know how to figure when Mercury's going to cross the sun, you can be anywhere around the world and you could see it with a naked eye, and you could tell what time it is at your prime meridian that way. And then you can figure what time the sun rises, and by that you could figure out your longitude on the earth. And so this would be known as the crucian, you know, the crossing of Mercury. And so this is all astrology, astronomy. But the ancient people, they were fairly smart, and they knew that astrology was really boring. And they knew if they put these stories in there about that which is good to eat by fishing, the serpent see, and circle on, pass on, and then gone the evil it lay. Of this tied to the crucian. And so he's going to wait for the crossing is tied to the crucian at the place where the fishes have to cross. And you see this word for where, you know, it's the same word that they say means no. And the same as the Hebrew people that say, but no, the vowel points make you pronounce it, but no, it's the letters that have the meaning. You know, because if you look at the world's oldest Greek Bible, there is no vowel points. It's just letters. You can't go to try changing meanings with vowel points. Might change the sound you make, but it still has the same meaning. And so the alchemist is reading this, you know, anoma to buy fishing, you know, and so to onum from to by two, not one but two, by, B-I is two, by the two fish. So when the sun was in Pisces, Houtous, to Mercury to circle around. then pass on, and then lie evil at. The evil eye of Ra. And so what evil actually means is knowledge, and they never want us to have the knowledge, so it's been turned into the meaning of evil. And so the evil at is the knowledge that you want. It's good to eat. And to lay of this tie to the crossing, the crucian, lay it to the cross. And so just with this one move, you know what time that Mercury is going to be coming to the edge of the sun. And with this one move, you can you align this point A to B with your horizon. You line this point A to C with the edge of the sun and Mercury. And then you look at your book and see what time at the prime meridian that Mercury was going to come to that edge of the sun. And then you figure that degree, and that's going to give you exact amount of degrees that you are away from your prime meridian. And that's going to tell you your longitude. Bring it to the cross. So this evil serpent that's circling is Mercury. So this reads about the same in this Byzantine Bible, except the fission has another eye in it, as in the phase on. And so it doesn't have to be in by fish in Pisces and two fish, but it could be any phase on. And then the evil at has an extra eye in there too. And so the eve, the connection of the upper and the lower, the roof and the wall, to make latitude, to make the latitude. And then there's an N at the end of this when the S, they say they mean it is, Esta, and this tie, this tie, it is to, this tie to. And here it is it in, this is in, is it in, to the crucian, to the cross on. But the other difference is this mark here that's under this O, and it's called an iota, and they only put this under the two O's and the A, I believe. I ain't quite got it figured out. I'm going to figure it out in here, but I know it means to read it backwards or backwards and forwards. And we're going to see it on this next gnome up here, I believe. And so it possibly means, to read this word backwards, forwards, O-T-O, Autu, as in Houtous, Autu. Or it possibly means read the next word backwards, as in the phase in. But in the Hebrew, it reads a little different, and it's she's the odd fish wind, who this of into culture. She's the odd fish of wind, of this into culture. And so here we culture catfish. We have big catfish farms. But in Egypt, they culture tilapia. And tilapia is an odd fish. If you have a tank, they change sex every month, they say. And if you have a tank and you just throw two males in there, one of them will instantly change sex so they can breed. Tilapia breed real fast. And so she's the odd fish who this of into culture, rich, RX, the rich each will, W-I-L-E, E-C-H, each who will raise much is, M-S-H-S, much is these in. She's the odd fish who this of into culture, rich each will raise much is these in. And so they can't put the same meanings, they can't, but you can see that the line before this is where they got that from, and it's the veneer, the surrounding. The veneer, it's so mode in, its purpose, modus operandum, M-O, the mode in. It's veneer, it's so mode in, less foot, tang again, tang edge in. The less foot, the water, you got less footing, the water, and the tang is the serpent's tongue edge in. The serpent's tongue edge in. Too much ciphered. Too much ciphered, you know, there's much ciphered out of getting the information from Mercury at the, you know, circling the sun. The vey, you know, 2 to I, or vey, veye, vey, as in survey, as in to see. Of Arbo. Arbo is the tree. Of Arbo, of the races. The tree of the races. So they still have these huge catfish farms in Egypt, out here by the Serpent's Tongue, where there's less foot. And these are all fish farms. And I don't see any marked here, but they have aeration going on in these ponds. I'm sure that's fish farms. And so that would be part of this Gnomon 16 here. And it's got less foot, you know, these got more foot. This has got less foot due to the water and the serpent's tongue, the split tongue. And we can see it here, it was number 16, the Gnomon of the catfish. You know, these are divisions of land or divisions of waters. And this was the share of the catfish. You know, it's all divided up in shares of water. And shares of earth. And it's the bread basket of Europe. You know, this is the serpent. And this is the mouth of the serpent. And this is his tongue. Out here on the edge is the split tongue. So I'm going to make another part to this. I'm going to go and read that next gnome, and it talks about the cure for carbuncles and anthrax. And it kind of changes some of our history that we've been taught. And I'm going to cut this off here. Good day.